So I'm gonna start with the Rome because it looks like dog trouble is happening with the Indie Pride. So uh, Balor has brought 6 units of Hastati here at his front. Again, this is probably going to be used as a shield, as a charge blunting force shield. It's going to lose to Celtic warriors if Tylis brought any. But the real meat of this Roman army is its backline. It's composed of 5 units of veteran legionaries, 2 units of legionaries, and then I think he has 3 units of legionary cohorts, which are just absolutely fantastic unit. He did bring some cab in the form of 2 equites, and he has a legatus general. So this is what you would call a power build. There's lots of infantry units. He's going to be using ranks. He's going to be nullifying charges with his own units that are throwaway, and then he's going to try to grind it out with whatever remains of his enemy's line.
Yeah, the main tactic that Rome generally uses against barbarian factions is they'll use the Hastati front line. The interesting thing is that Hastati, again, won't actually beat Celtic Warriors 1v1 in melee, but you want to try to deny as many Oathsworn and the mid-tier swords like the Tribal Warriors their charge bonus with the Hastati. They're really good at meat shielding and preventing the heavier infantry for Boii or for Tylis from getting their massive charge bonuses off. And if you can do that and then follow that up with a charge from a veteran legionnaire or one of the other legionary units, they can definitely grind down the very highly armored tribal warriors in melee combat. So I'm expecting that is what Balor of Agartha is going to be trying to do in this game. Get that Hastati to meat shield, soak up some slinger fire, and soak up the charge bonuses from the barbarian infantry.
Okay, fantastic. And just do Duck's lineup.
Okay, yeah. Duck's lineup is a left flank of Celtic warriors. Main line of tribal warriors, about 6 of those, I believe, and some Thracian warriors in the back that he'll probably use as a flanking force. We saw some really good use from, I believe, Panda Warrior earlier in the tournament, or was it? No, it was Duck. It was with Duck. Duck used Thracian warriors very effectively and efficiently, got them to kill some cavalry units, and they actually do have a bonus first large. They can kill cavalry very quickly, and use them as a flanking force. They're very low armored, which means you have to be, they're kind of a glass cannon. You have to be very careful how you utilize them. But if they get a flanking charge into the rear of one of these legionary units, they could do a ton of damage. And the interesting thing in this battle right now is he doesn't truly have any actual counters to the raiding horsemen. So what I'm expecting him to do is pull a couple Hastati from his front line into the back and use them to screen the javelin cavalry and make sure that they don't actually shoot at the units that are important, like the equites or the veteran legionnaires. If he can do that and kind of prevent the javelin cavalry from getting close to the line and just make them screen them with the Hastati, I think he'll be in pretty good shape. But I don't know, the melee engagement is one of those things where it could go absolutely either way. And actually he's popping Tetsudo at the moment, which is interesting. I don't know.
That is
he's popped that with all his whole main line against 2 Celtic slingers who are shooting at him from the front.
Yep.
I wouldn't really
all into Testudo. I mean, also Duck's been harassing constantly while we were going through those lineups there with those raiding horsemen. He's now got them around the back over to the right flank.
Oh, here comes a charge by this unit of equites. It's gonna try to pounce on this Celtic warrior.
Not a very good charge.
It's actually gonna end up. No, it's not. It's not gonna land. It loses almost 20 men. This noble horse, though, it's gonna try to do some kind of counter damage. It actually does so much damage against this Hastati, killing a total of almost 30 men, and it's gonna pull right out of there.
But if he can tie the noble horse down, that's big. If AggonyDuck can't pull this out, that's gonna be a big problem for him because that's an important unit.
Indeed.
Expensive unit.
Indeed, but at the same time, like, here comes clean charges from these Celtic warriors. He's gonna need to fall out himself.
Yeah, they're coming in from the flanks as well. That's gonna hurt.
And they
if you
will
can't
be
pull them
general
back.
everyone in combat.
Totally. Oh, this is quickly turning into a huge brawl.
He's pulling all of his forces.
Yeah.
And he's still got the raiding horsemen are now coming in as well. Duck's got them. He's gonna pull them into the flanks. And he's got Celtic warriors going into the remnants of that Equites unit. They've got to throw not too much damage. Chased away by the Equites. And over on the left, actually, he's charged out with a unit of Hastati right into the tribal warriors and is pulling more of his veteran legionaries over into the main line.
Equites is dead. And he's starting to win this engagement. He actually did pretty well in saving his noble horse, but most of the time this noble horse was facing the other way. But now it seems to realize what it was doing. His general, though, is getting kind of isolated at the front here.
Yeah.
trying to throw jabs against these
They're
veteran
going in.
legionaries, and he's just engages with his general. And look, he's pulling back. This is crazy. This is really, really dangerous for Duck.
Duck's going in. Duck's on crazy.
Yeah, that's a
Look at
very
this.
isolated
Oh,
general.
and
I'm not.
in
that's
goes
a
his
what is
general.
this? Like they're completely surrounded.
What is Duck
Good move
doing?
from Balor, but definitely a micro mistake from AggonyDuck here.
Yeah,
He might
a
get
micro
punished for it.
mistake. Totally.
Because he's gonna probably commit his veteran legionnaires, and they don't have anywhere to run away now. It's gonna have to be the tribal warriors that come in and save the general, and they can engage. They're gonna get a clean charge off from the legionnaire if he actually clicks an attack order.
He's giving it
Surprised
now.
He hasn't engaged yet. Yeah, he's engaging now, but yeah, here we go. They're gonna get a really good charge bonus, and the legionnaires actually are not facing them at all, so that should be pretty devastating. But general is down to 80 men. They're in yellow morale. I don't believe the general's died yet.
No, he's just winded, but they're down to 75 so far.
Attacking the rear unit, losing decisively, and he popped War Cry.
Intimidate.
And Intimidate, he can't
And
use
War
any
Cry.
abilities. So he's not going to be
Oh
able
my
to...
god,
going
the general,
down.
The general's red?
General's red. He's shaken because he's attacked at the rear.
If he loses his general here, he's in
And those
huge
legionaries,
trouble.
in formation attack are holding... They're actually holding rather well, despite being attacked in the flank there.
Comes the Legatus for
Yeah,
some
Legatus
morale
is
penalty,
going
and
in.
another Equites. They're trying their hardest.
Duck's down to
break this
54.
Forsworn. Starts to
The general's going to
waver.
rout. They are not going to win that engagement. They can't.
Over on the right flank, though, the Hastati
They just
have
routed, they
gone.
just shattered.
There we go.
Gone.
General's gone. Duck's general is out of there.
That was a big mistake
What a
right there.
huge mistake. Huge mistake. Look at his units. Look at the morale on all these units now. Once a barbarian general dies, the just morale just completely shatters throughout the army.
Got a
It
couple
was a
of-
really good use of Intimidate as well to prevent
Yeah,
him from using any
definitely.
of his general abilities. He couldn't headhunt.
Absolutely.
He couldn't pop any of his battle rhythm or second wind, and so they got surrounded, isolated, completely destroyed. And it was a micro mistake from AggonyDuck there, losing his general like that. But definitely good play from Balor of Agartha, noticing it, taking advantage of it, capitalizing on it. And I think he hasn't won this game yet, but like that's a huge deal to it. That's a huge blow to
That's
the
huge.
Barbarian army for sure.
Here comes a rear charge from this raiding horseman, though. It's going to contact really nicely against these legionnaires and these legionary cohort, but not really going to do much damage. He's going to need to keep doing cycle charging here and throwing javelin into the back of the use units, but the tribal warriors are starting to waver in the middle here, and there's just too many Roman infantry units left.
There's a lot left on the field for Rome, yeah. And
Rome's
another
still
tribal
pushing
warrior is
through.
about to get isolated right here. It's going to get hit by 3 different sides of the legionary cohort, a veteran legionnaire, and another veteran legionnaire, completely surrounded. Actually,
Comes the charge
Baylor's gonna
again.
pull out again, but they are surrounded, and a lot of these sword units really don't have any hope of winning the melee engagements they're in at the moment.
He did do a really good job here doing these charges, though. He's brought these Roman units down to about 50 a man, and these tribal warriors are starting to
The Celtic Slingers are
starting
still
to-
hammering into the back of the veteran legionaries as well on the flank there.
yeah, I don't know.
Huge charge from Thracian warriors, by the way, on Duck's left flank. They got into the rear of the veteran legionnaires, but they got counter-charged by the Legatus and just got destroyed.
Bye-bye Thracian
Yeah.
warriors. And those tribal warriors aren't
These
looking good
slingers.
too. They're going to shield wall, but they're on red morale, they're shaken. And they're not holding well just because, again, formation attack, veteran legionaries just pressing from both sides. And Duck keeping
That's what I'm
those
talking about
legionaries
with
together
the-
really well.
With the Thracian warriors, they're, like I said, they're a very glass cannon unit. If they don't engage properly or they get charged by cavalry, they get destroyed. And he actually got a good rear charge off on them, but it kind of got stopped a little bit by the Legatus. They charged into the rear, and that unit just routed in seconds. And that was a big deal because he probably could have routed the veteran legionnaire if they'd gotten an actually clean charge off into the back of that legion.
He's charging more of the raiding horsemen in over on that right flank, trying
Oh
to
my God.
break those
Break that
legionaries. In come the Equites as well, though.
And they do break it. Wow, these raiding horsemen have been doing work across the line. They've done it first here in the middle, and now they did it again. They're routing more units. Like, Duck made a huge mistake at the beginning, but he has been fighting his way back. If he keeps these 2 slingers alive and he manages to somehow win over this side here, he could have a decent chance, and maybe...
If he kills the
Just
general
maybe.
here,
Baylor-
maybe there
yeah.
might be a morale shock big
Baylor's
enough to
down.
turn this.
7 out of 30.
His
I think
units are
they're
holding.
winded.
Yeah, the tribal warriors are just tanking it.
To be fair, so
There's
are the
too many
legionary
Roman
cohort. They are
troops.
completely
Yeah.
surrounded by Thracian warriors. General's
Balor's-
gonna die here if he's not dead
Baylor's going to
already.
go. He's trying to pull him away. He's out down to 4. Desperately trying to pull
Discipline.
out.
And the
Discipline
general's
units,
actually
though.
still alive.
Is this extra general
So,
over
but
there?
if the
There's no
Roman-
morale penalty for the general dead.
Yeah, there's no morale penalty except for the equites. So like the Roman troops don't really care if their general dies. They still fight. They're well trained and well drilled.
Yeah, this
But
is starting to the
now
balance
that-
war shifting very
now
much
that-
in his favor.
Now that the centre's got freed up, he can charge into the back of the troops. They're all wavering now, bar the units on the left flank.
Yeah,
They've gone. There they go. And that's there's a couple of slingers, but they'll break in a moment as well. And that is first
That's
game
game.
then to Balor. Beating the
Wow.
duck.
So I think that this replay or this game specifically comes down to one thing, and I think it was Duck's missed micromanagement of his general. I think the engagements could have gone fine for him if he didn't lose. I mean, that Oathsworn got, I don't know how many kills he got, maybe 25 kills tops. We'll check it on the stat screen in a second here, but it did not do a lot of killing. And normal Oathsworn units should be able to cut through a lot of Hastati and normal Legionnaires if they're used effectively. And if they get Headhunt off, and if they get Battle Rhythm off, and if they then refresh their exhaustion, they can do so much killing. And they didn't do anything, and it wasn't just that. They also lost his general. So when you lose your gen, you get that morale shock. Your guys start fighting way worse. Ended up shifting things way in Balor's favor for sure. And he brought it back pretty well, but it wasn't enough in the end.
Well, that's the first game, a Pyrrhic victory, but Balor gains the first point in the final, deploying 2,130, losing 1,401, and killing 1,409. Duck deploying 2,070, losing 1,441, and killing 1,366. So very close there in terms of kills and losses.
All things considered, I think like Duck did well in terms of like how many men he killed and how many men he lost. Like look at the stats of his Thracian warriors and his tribal warriors. He did a good job. He tanked out. If he just didn't lose his general, even his raiding horsemen, they did pretty well. Same time, look at those veteran legionaries for Balor.
Yeah, they
Even his
shredded.
legatus, 77 kills.
He uses his general really well.
Yeah, he
really
does.
well. I would normally would not risk sending my legatus or my general's bodyguard into melee combat, but he seems to know the limits of that unit very well, and they do a pretty decent job for him. And his use of Warcry Intimidate, I gotta say it again, probably the best use of Intimidate I've seen in a tournament ever. Like that was really good, and it was the reason the Oathsworn died so quickly. And again, like I said, 18 kills on an Oathsworn unit. That's 1,280 talents for 18 kills. Not worth it at all. And I think that if he had microed that better, might have been a different battle.